Thank you very much to the Prime Minister. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to answer that, please give a very warm welcome to the Leader of the Opposition, Ms. Kristin Briggs.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. We're really excited and honored to be here. We'd like to thank the chairman, the jury, and all of you, of course. So to get right into it, I want to start out with a quote, something that we think is very important on our side of the debate. In winter of 2009, a visiting University of Minnesota professor said that immediately after taking office, the new US administration, the Obama administration, which had received considerable advance praise in Europe from both official circles and the general public, put a high-profile appearance at the Munich Security Conference in order to press the reset button in transatlantic relations. It was the first time in the 45-year history of the convocation that a US vice president had appeared at the event, and Joe Biden used that opportunity to demonstrate a resolve to set a new tone in transatlantic relations. So when we ask whether or not Obama should care about Europe, we need to be mindful of the fact that the Obama administration, from the very beginning, articulated this philosophy with very good reason and intent. This is something the administration intends to do because it realizes that the going it alone of the Bush administration was a policy disaster. And I'd like to say for the record that we didn't teach him that at Yale. Because to do anything else, to go against Europe, would be antithetical, no thank you right now, to Obama's own views. Additionally, it would not only look very bad, but it would also be quite harmful to renege on this policy. So our overarching philosophy on this side of the debate, and what we want to show you in tonight's debate, is that we think Europe will be a crucial ally to Barack Obama in pursuing not only his foreign policy objectives, but also his domestic priorities as well. Further, we're going to argue that President Obama should not only care about Europe because it affects his policy priorities, but also because of Europe's ability to balance international power. Tension or disunity within Europe, believe it or not, has the potential to place both Europe and the United States at a significant disadvantage on the world stage. And we oppose the suggestion that the president should not be at all concerned with a continent of some of our closest economic, political, and military allies. We think it's a question of mutuality, and I'll take you after this thought. We need them as much as they need us. Sure.
So apparently we're very, very close, particularly since Obama's administration kicked in. Are you aware that he didn't attend the last two US-EU summits he was invited to?
Okay, so I guess the answer to your question is yes, but that doesn't mean that Obama shouldn't care about Europe at all. We do think that there is room to believe and room to care about Europe. We don't espouse the view that that's a good thing to do. So sure, we don't think that's a good idea at all. We think normatively, Obama needs to care about Europe because they help balance international power and they're going to help us with our domestic and foreign policy. So we also don't think that what's best for the world is to exclude a large part of it. We think that's a really bad policy for Obama to espouse. So the next thing I'm going to do in my speech is go over some of the arguments that they gave us. The first thing they talked about is how, Europe is America's mother. And we would say that as you grow up, perhaps your relationship with your mother changes. Perhaps you don't always bring your laundry to her house, but we think that you do consult her for important decisions, and she does treat you as an adult. So we think that this relationship could continue, right? So the second thing they talk about is that presidential concern should be America. There was a healthcare disaster. It's not good to have a watchdog. But again, we would argue that this mutual relationship is important. We don't think it's, no thank you right now, that it's important for us to watch over Europe, but we do think it's important for Europe to watch some of our policies as well. We think cooperation is necessary for both our domestic and foreign policy objectives. Then they talk about all of these aspects in which they think we differ from Europe in a lot of ways. They say, we need lots of help with energy saving and lots of help with gun control. So I'm really sorry that the Tea Party just got elected in a lot of places, but I'm going to say that a lot of us are from Connecticut and the Northeast, so not all Americans espouse that. So therefore, we think it's really important for someone like Obama to show that not everyone in America is like that. There are some people in America, especially the president and his own views, who are still willing to look internationally, who are still willing to look to Europe to be at the forefront of politics. Sure.
Surely, as America's president, Barack Obama must represent all of the Americans and not just Connecticut.
I mean, so what we will say is in a democratic Republican system, you do elect your president to represent you. And we do think that it's antithetical to his personal views and that he was elected on a platform that said that he would care about internationalism. Because remember how it turned out for us when we took action unilaterally, right? It was really, really bad for America. It was bad for our international image. It spread us too thin on the international stage. We think it's important to revert back to a policy of caring about Europe, of caring about other policies, and of caring about cooperation. So they talk about how it's going to to be a distraction for Obama. We think that it's actually going to be very important for him, and it's actually going to benefit us in a lot of ways. So the second thing I'd like to do is talk about the things that my partners are going to get up here and talk about. Meredith is going to outline for you Europe's critical role in achieving the US policy objectives, which is something that I've already alluded to. She'll speak of the promotion of democracy and peace and global and regional stability, with specific reference to nuclear disarmament, humanitarianism, human rights, environmentalism, etc. Max is going to discuss economic interdependence, transatlantic trade, especially in light of the recent financial crisis, which we think is something that's very important to look at. And then Naz is going to get up here and develop the arguments and tell you how they apply moving into the future, looking especially at progressive policies. And Nate's going to crystallize our arguments and restate our philosophy. But before they delve into concrete examples, it's critical that we understand Obama's foreign policy and his foreign policy philosophy. To disengage or to not care about Europe at all is antithetical to Obama's philosophy, antithetical to the very platform he was elected on. We think it means a lot to him in his foreign policy and to try to engage with Europe on all levels. Fundamentally, he believes in engagement. Power politics are ineffective in a globalized world. Because with the elimination of borders, with technology, with the ability of the common man to have the world at his fingertips, ideas can spread more quickly than troops. People see images of political and economic freedom, and they expect it for themselves. It's impossible for one single entity, for the United States, for example, to combat every idea or quell every non-state actor alone, or to give people the political and economic freedom that they so desire. For Obama, this change means consulting with Europe instead of simply trying to make decisions unilaterally. He knows that the United States cannot afford to act alone in either militaristic hard power or soft power scenarios. Thus, it both is and should be the defining aspect of Obama's policies to care very much about Europe.